Hello, welcome back to the channel. I'm out in the garage working again, doing what I do. Got this bumper here I bought off of Marketplace. Gonna put it on the old second gen Dodge Ram Cummins diesel. Let's take a look at it. That's a ranch hand bumper I figured out later. Originally it was made for a Silverado, and it had these big boxes up here on the side to go with the style of the Silverado. I cut those off, and I took a giant angle grinder with a wire wheel and a cup wheel and cleaned it all up inside and out. And I gotta tell you, that was a job. This thing had baked on paint. What do you call it? I forget what they call it, but that oven baked paint. Powder coat, yeah. It had powder coat on it. And then they had regular paint on it. And then they had bed liner all over it. So it took me an entire day to strip it off. And then I primed it with this Ultra Cover primer paint matte. By the way, these are $13 a can at the hardware store now. And I got 6 cans for $38 off Amazon. So you wonder why people buy so much stuff off Amazon. That's why. So I'm at the point where I'm ready to paint it. And I thought I'd do something different. So I bought some Kubota paint. It's Kubota orange. And got this from Tractor Supply. And I have a Kubota, and I have some implements that I need to paint. So if I don't like this, I can still use the paint for that. And then I see now they're selling this hardener, which that's the best thing you can do is add hardener to oil-based paint. Gives it a much better surface finish. And I can't remember the last time I just took a brush and painted something. So I thought maybe we could do a little painting and have a conversation, which is something I haven't done much of either. Hopefully this will get me in the frame. So yesterday, one of my videos was picked up by 2 much larger channels. And of course I was excited about that because my channel is very small. I just do, things around the house. I don't have a videographer. I don't do any editing other than sometimes I cut off the beginning and sometimes I cut off the end of the video. That's the only editing I do. And there's a reason for that. I don't want to do editing because so many channels, all they do is complain about how long it takes to edit. So I figure, well, if I never edit, then I don't have anything to complain about. And Lord knows there's enough people complaining about everything in the world. They don't need me complaining about editing. So that's why my videos are the way they are. They're just, I'd like to think that they're real. They're unscripted, obviously. So I also like to think of them as being somewhat wholesome. It's just a guy and his dog working on things in the garage. But this video got picked up yesterday, and it talks about my interaction with the state trooper that came by. And it was picked up by a couple of sites that are, or channels that are, there's a lot of people on those channels. And a lot of those people, based on the comments that I read, they really, really don't like the police. And I just wonder, what kind of problems these people had with them. And I mean, you hear all these stories, and if I'm honest, I don't have a problem that much with the police, and I haven't had that much of a problem with them. And I don't even, fault the guy for Mr. Trooper Garcia for coming by, and the way he acted was actually, I thought, pretty polite. And I mean, I've had other interactions that weren't as polite as the ones I had with him, so I thought he actually did pretty good. But man, there are some people out there that the comments they made, they just really, really don't like the police. And I guess in all this, I'd say that my problem really was with my neighbor calling them and why she called them. It was obviously based on a lie. If you saw the video, the video is still posted. It's called "I Had a Visit Today," and it's about state trooper got called out because my neighbor wanted to make up stories for whatever reason. It's not like she accused me of a crime. She just felt like calling the police. I don't know exactly why anybody would do that, but they were, they're duty bound to come out if you call them, I guess, and take your story and see what comes of it. I mean, I'm sure he wanted to keep everybody safe, and that was his reason. And he just, his boss sent him out here, and he had to answer the call. So, like I said, I really don't fault him. His actions weren't entirely inappropriate or anything. It's just basically doing his job, and I know his methods, so it wasn't a shock to me what he did and the way he did it. It didn't surprise me at all. I've seen it before, and I knew that he wanted to see if he could get some information out of me, and to be quite honest, there was nothing to get. I had done nothing wrong. So the thing was, I really didn't feel like defending myself over such a stupid call that was completely pointless. And in my experience, once they get a little bit of information, they start wanting to dig more. In this case, there was absolutely nothing to get, other than the fact that my neighbor is an idiot, and she called the police for no reason. We had done nothing to her. Django certainly had done nothing to her. She's the sweetest dog in the world. And just the allegation was just completely unfounded. So I just wanted to make it clear that I'm not really anti-police. If anything, I'm anti the court system is just a disaster. And I'm in New York, so you can only imagine. I mean, look what happened with all the court stuff going on nationally. I don't need to name it. I think you know what I'm talking about, but it's just a mess. And I really put more of that weight on the court system and the higher government than I do just your average state trooper. Now, some people had questions as to why the trooper would be sent out to do sort of an investigation. Well, in New York, the state police they're kind of detectives in a way. Like not recently, but a couple years ago, there was a young woman murdered in this area, and the state troopers were doing the investigation. So they do investigations, and they're not just like highway patrol like other states, like some states. I've never seen this exact setup that they have here, and I can't totally explain it, but that's the basic gist of it, is that the state police, they do investigations in New York State, and it's a little different than other states I've lived in. So that's why they might send a state trooper out here to investigate something, whereas they might not in other states. They're not just the highway patrol. But man, I kind of like to hear some of these stories. All these people on these YouTube channels, I kind of like to hear, what all happened to them that make them hate the police so much. I mean, I've had pretty good experiences with them, and mainly my problem is with who's calling the police, not the police themselves. And this officer, he didn't come out here on his own. It's not like he pulled me over and started asking me stupid questions. He was told lies, by my neighbor, and you know, his boss sent him out here, and he had to follow up on it. You know, he's just basically, I could say, he's just doing his job, and the methods, you know, are the things that some of the channels, they were going on and on about how deceptive they are and how they're always lying, and you know, that's part of their mythology. You know, they methodology, excuse me. That's they deal with a lot of liars, and I don't know if he thought she was lying, but I wasn't going to try to explain myself because, you know, generally speaking, the person that calls the police seems to be the one that they want to believe. And in this particular instance, that was not the one telling the truth. And I didn't think that my explanation of the situation was going to help anything. Really, I think I'd be better off contacting a solicitor or the district attorney's office and pursuing something along those lines. This looks really good. This orange is going to be a fun color, I thought. But, you know, I decided to not do anything for now. And I don't know if that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. But I personally am not, you know, one to run to the police to solve my problems. Unlike some people who, I mean, obviously my neighbors have done it. And it's just not really... not really what I want to do. I don't think it's going to help the situation. I think there's still going to be idiots, and like I said, this is not the first time that we've had something come up and they've tried to get their will, to try to force their will using the government, and it's been different entities that they've used. But I don't know, I guess I just felt that I wanted to follow up and just make a quick video and say, you know, I hope I wasn't too harsh concerning the trooper. Again, I think he was basically just doing his job and using the methods that he's been trained to use. And those methods, they probably work most of the time. Because people think that, you know, if they can get their side of the story heard, that they will be better off, and that they can make their neighbor not call the police the next time, or make the situation not happen. And personally, I don't have any belief that my talking to that trooper was going to help that at all. If I did believe that, I would have been happy to talk to him. Like I said, he seemed like a nice enough guy, but that could have been an act. I don't know. I don't think I have people figured out that much, but I didn't want to. And like others have said, you know, don't answer the door. I wouldn't have answered the door if my dog wasn't outside. She likes to hang out underneath the porch and just keep an eye on things. And sometimes when I'm cleaning the house or something, it's nice to have her out of my way. And it's just a small place, so I had to go out and get her when he showed up because, you know, I didn't want any harm to come to her. And so that's why I had to go outside. And, man, I tell you what, there's thousands and thousands of people watch those other channels. Hundreds of comments were made. It really got a lot of people's attention for some reason. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what kind of experiences they've had, but boy, they were pretty passionate about the situation, and very supportive of, you know, what I did, which I don't know if it was right or wrong, but I just felt like at the time it was the right thing to do. And again, I'm not trying to pick on the guy, but really it was the neighbor that called that frustrates me so much. They're still there, you know, they're still my neighbors, and calling the police is not going to make them not my neighbors. And they've done things to me that I haven't called the police on them for, but it's a different story for them. Obviously, they think that they can impose their will on the situation. But that's it, and this bumper's looking really cool. I'm just going to keep working on it, and I am going to make a video on what really happened, and I'm going to make a video on other things that have happened with other neighbors. And there's people out there that say, well, if you get the cops called on you 10 times, you must be doing something wrong. Well, you're wrong if you think that. You can get the cops called on you 100 times and still have done nothing wrong. All it means is that the idiots around you don't learn the lesson that trying to impose their will on somebody by using the police force doesn't work. So maybe it'll work eventually, I don't know, but thanks for tuning in. I'm going to finish up this